It's not the loudest. It's not the strongest. It's the calmest. Miyamoto Musashi understood this paradox. He developed a systematic approach to managing emotions, a method his opponents could never overcome. This approach helped him win 60 consecutive duels to the death. His four-step system for maintaining calmness works in any modern conflict and begins with a principle most people never even consider: emotional distance. When someone yells at you or challenges you, your body instantly fills with stress hormones. Your heart races, muscles tense, your mind narrows. This is the trap most people fall into during conflicts. Musashi discovered that the key to victory wasn't superior swordsmanship but the ability to rise above this emotional storm. In his writings, he described how he viewed conflict from above, as if watching clouds drift by, never becoming part of the storm. Think back to the last time someone made you angry. In that moment, you became your anger. Your words, your actions, your thoughts, all were driven by emotion, not by your true goals. That's how Musashi's opponents fought. They became their anger, their fear, their pride. Emotional distance means creating space between what happens and how you react. When someone insults you, instead of snapping back, you simply notice the feeling rising within you. I feel anger right now, you think, not I am angry. That small shift changes everything. Musashi honed this skill in increasingly dangerous situations, always keeping his mental distance. In his most famous duel against Sasaki Kojiro, his opponent arrived irritated and impatient. Musashi purposely arrived late, further provoking Kojiro, who became consumed by his own rage. While Kojiro drowned in his emotions, Musashi remained detached, able to see the conflict clearly. To develop this skill, start with simple practice. Whenever you feel a strong emotion during any conflict, say to yourself, I notice that I'm feeling angry. This creates a tiny space between you and the feeling. With practice, that space grows. Modern research backs up Musashi's intuition. Brain scans show that people who label their emotions activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking. This calms the emotional centers of the brain. That's why therapists often encourage patients to name their feelings during moments of stress. But emotional distance is just the first principle. Once you've created space, you need to understand what's coming next. That brings us to the second principle, predictive awareness. Musashi called this foreknowledge, the ability to sense what will happen before it does. In his book The Book of Five Rings, he wrote about anticipating an opponent's moves. It wasn't mind reading, it was understanding human patterns. When someone is angry, they follow predictable paths. When someone feels threatened, their reactions narrow to just a few likely options. Musashi studied these patterns obsessively. Think of how a skilled chess player sees 5 moves ahead. They don't guess, they recognize patterns and likely reactions. Musashi applied the same logic to human behavior in conflict. Our bodies react differently to sudden stress compared to expected challenges. When caught off guard, adrenaline floods the body, triggering a fight-or-flight response. But when you anticipate conflict, your brain prepares more methodically, releasing smaller amounts of stress hormones, sharpening your focus without clouding your judgment. Before his duel with the aggressive Sasaki Kojiro, Musashi carved a wooden sword during his boat ride to the fight. He made it slightly longer than Kojiro's famous long sword, knowing it would give him a minor yet critical reach advantage. You can develop this awareness with simple practice. Before any potentially difficult conversation, spend 30 seconds asking yourself 3 questions. What emotional state is this person likely in? What do they truly want from this interaction? What are the 3 most likely reactions they could have? It works because you train your brain to recognize patterns. A boss who always criticizes will likely criticize your new idea. A friend who avoids conflict will probably change the topic if you bring up something uncomfortable. Anticipating these reactions removes the emotional surprise. Even modern-day examples support this principle. During high-stakes negotiations, experienced FBI hostage negotiators spend a lot of time analyzing the personality of the person they are dealing with. They study past reactions to predict behavior. This foreknowledge allows them to stay calm when others would panic, choosing words and strategies that de-escalate tension instead of inflaming it. Predictive awareness turns conflicts from chaotic emotional flare-ups into more predictable scenarios that you can control. But even with emotional distance and predictive awareness, Musashi understood that true calmness under pressure required one more principle: strategic breathing. In his texts, Musashi emphasized that controlling one's breath was essential for maintaining clarity during battle. He observed that when swordsmen became afraid or angry, their breathing was the first thing to change. It became shallow, quick, and uneven. Musashi taught that by controlling your breath, you control your mind. During his training, he focused on breathing exercises as much as sword techniques. Your breath is directly linked to your emotional state. When you are calm, your breathing is slow and deep. When you are afraid or angry, it becomes fast and shallow. But this link works both ways. If you consciously slow your breathing, you can alter your emotional state. Before key moments in a duel, Musashi would take one controlled breath. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Hold it briefly. Exhale through the mouth for 6 counts. You can use this technique in modern conflicts, when tension builds during a meeting, an argument, or right before delivering bad news. Try it. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. Even one cycle noticeably calms you down. Emotional distance gives you space. Predictive awareness helps you prepare. Strategic breathing maintains your physical calmness. But Musashi's system wasn't just about surviving conflicts, it was about directing that calmness towards a purpose. That's the 4th principle: purposeful action. Musashi knew that clear goals are stronger than any emotion. While his opponents fought from anger or fear, Musashi fought with purpose. In the Book of 5 Rings, he wrote that a warrior should not aim to strike first but to remain focused on his ultimate goal. With a clear purpose, every movement, every decision served a larger aim, not just winning the duel, but mastery of the self. When someone challenges you and you react emotionally, you're playing by their rules. But when you stay focused on your greater purpose, you control the flow of the interaction. These 4 principles: emotional distance, predictive awareness, strategic breathing, and purposeful action, make Musashi's approach timeless. When you master them, you don't just win conflicts, you transcend them.